It was a spirited practice today for the Flyers in Voorhees as they look to shake off a tough Monday night loss to the New York Islanders and prepare for a back-to-back against Columbus and Boston. I'm Charlie O'Connor of the PHLY Flyers and PHLY Sports, and these are your Flyers post-practice notes. So after one of the roughest losses of the season by the Flyers, a 4-0 defeat at the hands of the New York Islanders, just a few days after maybe their biggest win of the season, a 7-3 blowout victory over the league-leading Colorado Avalanche, the Flyers hit the ice in Voorhees before they head off on a 2-game road trip. Now, it was a short practice, only about 30 minutes long, but the guys were flying around. They had a lot more energy, at least to my eyes, than it appeared they had on Monday night against the Islanders, where they clearly came out pretty flat. They didn't have energy. Trevor Zegras even said after the game that maybe the guys thought that this game was going to be easy. They needed to have a flush it down the toilet type of practice today, and that's pretty much what they did. And resetting as quickly as possible isn't just something they want to do. It's something they need to do. The Flyers have a bunch more games coming up before the Olympic break. In fact, they have 3 more games this week, starting with that back-to-back against Columbus and Boston.
Yeah, we haven't practiced a couple of days. I thought it was, I actually give the guys a lot of credit. It was a spirited practice. We only wanted to do 3 or 4 drills, but high intensity. We got a couple of back-to-back games, a couple of teams that are hot. So we got to make sure, as much as you're upset about the game, you still got to give these guys energy. So, but I thought it was a perfect amount, and I thought the guys really did a good job on the practice.
So you had guys flying around, talking with each other, laughing with each other. You had Sean Couturier helping Trevor Zegras on face-offs for a bit at the end of practice. It just seemed like everyone was in a much better mood than they were in last night, and that's going to be necessary if they want to have any chance of getting through what's really a deceptively difficult back-to-back. Look, on paper, neither Columbus nor Boston are world beaters. Boston's sitting in a wild card spot. Columbus is actually below the Flyers in the standings, but both teams have been playing really well recently. Columbus is 5-1-0 since firing their coach and making a coaching change. Boston only has 2 losses so far the entire month of January. So these are not easy games. These are going to be tough ones, and the Flyers need to be a lot more prepared to play than they were on Monday night against the Islanders if they want a shot at winning both of them. So who will suit up for the Flyers in these 2 important games on Wednesday and Thursday? The line combinations basically the same, especially up front when they ran them today at practice. However, Emil Andrae, interestingly enough, was on a 4th pair with Nick Delorier, implying that Andrae, just maybe, might not be in the lineup, at least for Wednesday's game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, Andre's play has been dipping for a bit, but he had an especially rough game on Monday night against New York. He had a bad turnover on a shorthanded opportunity that ended up turning right into an Islanders power play goal. He got beat along the boards in the lead up to the Islanders' 4th goal. It's been a tough go for Emil Andrae, and Rick Tocchet was asked today about what's been going wrong for the young defenseman and what he needs to work on.
It just seems like he's giving the puck away a lot. Like he's instead of trying to make plays and use his position, whether it's skating ability, seems to skate into trouble, and he's been losing the puck a lot. The goal, there are a couple of goals there, he's overreading it, like sometimes it just wheeling the net, a nice 12-foot pass, the first 3-4 shifts for it is a good play. It's not looking for more, I think, and then obviously positional play seems like he's getting stuck in there. So, yeah, I think as a young defenseman, you're going to get these inconsistencies, and this is where you got to fight it. And, that's where he's at right now. He's trying to fight his consistency of his game.
Now, Tocchet didn't outright confirm that Andrae is definitely going to be a healthy scratch, at least for Wednesday's game, but it sure seems like it's going in that direction, and it would make sense. Sometimes young guys do need a game or 2 to sit out to get a little bit of a reset. And Andrae was scratched on the New Year's Eve game against Calgary, so this wouldn't be the first time. That said, I would say his recent play definitely a little bit more concerning than his play in the lead up to that scratch. It wasn't just one bad game. He's been on a downward trajectory for a little bit, and he really needs to get it back going. But while Andrae might be out of the lineup on Wednesday, likely replaced by Noah Juulsen, the Flyers could be getting back a very important player either Wednesday or Thursday, goaltender Dan Vladar. Now, for now, the Flyers are still carrying 3 goalies. Dan Vladar remains on IR. Alexei Kolosov remains up with the team. But on Monday morning before the game, Rick Tocchet did note that Vladar, if necessary, probably could have backed up on Monday. They were just giving him a little bit of extra time. My guess, the strong play of Sam Ersson played a role in maybe giving them a little bit of leeway to let Vladar fully heal, not rush him back. Well, Sam Ersson didn't have, I wouldn't say he was awful on Monday night, but the whole team didn't play well, and Ersson certainly could have given the Flyers a couple more stops. This seemingly would be a great time for Vladar to make his return. And at practice today, I did catch Rick Tocchet having an on-ice conversation with Dan Vladar. Wouldn't be surprised if that was asking him, hey, you think he might be ready for Wednesday or maybe Thursday's game? Doesn't necessarily have to play Wednesday. Could play in the second game of a back-to-back. He's certainly not going to get both games even if he's ready to go. But it wouldn't shock me even a little bit if Dan Vladar is the starter on Wednesday and makes his return from injury. I'm Charlie O'Connor with the PHLY Flyers and PHLY Sports. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.